Alright, so this is These We the People News. Alrighty, so this video is without prejudice and or without recourse. Okay, I am not waiving any of my rights. In fact, I'm keeping them intact, especially on my stand on the 10th Amendment. Okie dokie. I'm not an attorney, so I'm not going to give legal advice on here. I give opinions and opinions only. If you need legal advice, by gosh, go get one. Okay, and this may be a learning video. It just depends how you look at this and how my opinions look at it. Remember, y'all, never look just straight forward. Always look around you for be able to protect yourself by any means necessary. Alrighty, so let's kind of dive into this a little bit. And past videos we're talking about judges, so let's see what's going on here.
Who did the videoing? Do we know?
He'll be available later, Your Honor. At the end of the day, and I'm trying to get him here.
Okay. What was the threat? Did Mr. Mummert know about this threat?
Mr. Mummert knew about the threat.
And what was it? You can move closer if you want, or that's fine.
May I approach, Your Honor?
You can come inside the well about where Mr. Mummert's at. What was the threat? From who to whom?
In Mr. Mummert's office building, there was a gentleman who was evidently looking for a vantage point on the floor below Mr. Mummert at a place where there's kids in school, where they organize the kids to go to school.
My office is one floor above the Early Learning Coalition on Winkler. Go ahead.
Okay. They called the police on him. The police arrived. He said that, or the woman he talked to, he told the woman that she wondered what he was doing. He said everybody will know in a couple of days. It's going to be all over the news. Evidently, it involved the building across the street as well. The sheriff's office, building across the street or across the parking lot, hired the sheriff's department to stay in the parking lot. I had a discussion with the sheriff. With reporting to the police. There was some concern. Actually,
Who was it?
I don't remember his name.
Chris Swanson? Gentleman's
So what would that have to do with videoing random people leaving my courtroom?
Well, Your Honor, we frequently video in the lobby to see witness reactions and things like that. And
Not that I'm aware of. This is the first I've ever had it happen, and I've been a judge for 12 years. At least it's the first time it's been reported to me, and my staff's pretty good.
Yeah. Many times, we're all putting a investigator out in the lobby, just like the state does with their investigators. They have them.
They don't videotape people.
No, they don't. And I understand the videotape.
Okay, let's go and stop right there. They don't tape people, right? Correction, they do. You have recordings everywhere in just about every building nowadays, right? I mean, you see a recording right now. And, you have them in the court building, in the hallways. You have them in the court building at the clerks. About the only place there is not no recordings, and I can't even guarantee that, in the restrooms. I'm not going to be surprised if there's recordings in there, knowing the government. So this has a lot to do with recordings. And specifically outside the courtroom.
Who's paying for this?
We are. I am. My office.
Mr. Mummert's not paying for it?
No. Anyway, Your Honor, the point was we weren't sure what.
Well, I mean, before you said it was a threat, now it's reactions from people. I mean, which is it?
Well, no. In this particular case, and the incident we're talking about, he was outside in the lobby with the TV cameras, and he was approached by one of the bailiffs and asked what he was doing there, and he said he was hired by me. The bailiff came to me and said he can't film there, and he said there was a court order, and I immediately shut it down and had him leave the building.
Well, it's general practice. I think there's actually signs that there's no video recording in this courthouse, period. It's not even my rule. It's a rule by the chief judge and for the whole building, which is why you have to get approval to videotape in here. And which is why...
We're going to stop right there. Where in the world did the chief judge is allowed to stop any recordings in a public building? Judges has gotten so out of hand of just rules. They're not even laws. So the chief judge is unconstitutionally dictating what you can and cannot record in public, which he has no jurisdiction of. And dare I say it, I would hardly challenge jurisdiction on this. Okay, what jurisdiction you have over this matter? It's a rule, not a law. Or a policy. Okay? It's most likely a policy. Where's codes and statutes? Alright? They've gotten so out of control of being kings. If you do not bow down to them, they're going to hold you in contempt of court. And again, we talked about this before. Is it civil or criminal? Alright? And, I mean, there's been a few videos back, that the judge literally had officers drag this gentleman in the courtroom without the due process. That judge had zero jurisdiction and a zero authority to do that.
I expel people from my courtroom who do it. And I'm be blunt. And this has a feel to it of I can't put my thumb on it, but I wouldn't say no.
So it's good for the courts to have everything on you. Your driver's license, your address, the time and place you work, your financial statements. They are allowed to have all through that court system documents of you. But by gosh, it's a secret about them. Why is that, y'all? Why is that? We're getting more and more recordings at the opening about these judges really stepping over their authorities, and then people have a tendency to call themselves citizens, which is this made-up name that the government came up with. But they have zero jurisdiction and zero authority about this. This is a problem, and our legislature, even though I don't trust them very well, needs to actually put a stop to this.
Various, but it just doesn't smell right.
And again, Your Honor, absolutely no disrespect intended for the court.
Are you the investigator for any of the other collateral cases involved with this one that are in the civil division?
No. No, Your Honor, it's nothing like that. So my sincere apologies if I thought for a moment that we were making rules I would not know.
You need him for anything else in this case? I think you should go.
Okay, thank you.
But that other gentleman, I need to talk to him. Make sure he still gets here, but I think you should leave for the rest of the proceedings.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That other gentleman, I need to talk to him. Make sure he still gets here, but I think you should leave for the rest of the proceedings in this case and any of the co-defendants. Anything further, State? Mr. Mummer? Mr. Mummer, you can let me know when that gentleman's here, and I'll have a discussion with him as well. Thank you. For the record, Mr. Hunter is present, Mr. Mummert, and Mr. Sievers. Are you the gentleman who was filming outside of my courtroom?
Yes, sir.
Come on up. You stand over there by Mr. Mummer. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth?
Let's stop right there, y'all. Where in the world is the due process? Where did this judge actually get jurisdiction to call somebody out of the blue into a courtroom while he's having courtroom with something else? Okay, now I'm just assuming. All right, this is just part of the video, so this may be a court that directly attends to this recording. But from what I'm gathering, he's actually having a different type of court. He just put on pause to attend to this recording incident. Okay? So this judge quits one jurisdiction jumps into another jurisdiction, and we got to figure out what jurisdiction does he actually have, and what due process does this judge actually has authority to bring somebody into his courtroom and actually says, oh, you're going to be telling the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God, and all that. Number one, he didn't even have time to even get a lawyer. You know. Number two, the judge is actually going to start the Fifth Amendment violation, Sixth Amendment violation, and possibly the Fourth Amendment violation. When you say your name and all that, that's also the Fourth Amendment violation. And don't forget the First Amendment. Alright? Press. They have no jurisdiction over this. They don't even have it in the regular court building. But we've been so dumbed down over this that it's going to take us a while to get our authority back from these judges or these kings.
Nothing but the truth in this matter here today. You can put your hand down, sir. Please state your name for the record. Are you under the influence of any alcohol, narcotics, or drugs here today? Have you ever been diagnosed with a mental disorder that would make it difficult for you to understand why you're here today?
Diagnosed bipolar.
Are you taking medication for that? Does it affect your ability to understand what we're talking about? Sir, why were you filming outside of my courtroom?
I was hired.
Boom. Right there. Boom. Violation of the Fifth Amendment. And I'm sure this guy was kind of like, what do I do? What do I do? Well, he didn't know what to do because why? He didn't have an attorney. Even though you know that I don't believe in attorneys, right? But this guy was obviously under duress. And all those questions was an violation of the Fifth Amendment incrimination, right? He can say no, and he may not be on influence drugs, but that's still incrimination because you gave answers, right? So therefore, and again, y'all, this is a learning video. I don't know. Okay, I'm not an attorney. I don't know how this judge got this jurisdiction. First thing I would have done is, okay, what jurisdiction do you have in this matter? Where's my due process? Do I have a right to the Sixth Amendment? Do I have a right to the Fifth Amendment at this particular time? Because all of a sudden I'm being forced into this room.
And what specifically did he hire you to do?
He was worried about, he said there's a shady character he was concerned about, and he had me monitoring the lobby of the courtroom. That's all I know, he's a friend of mine, so I decided to come out and help him out.
He give you the name of this person?
No, he didn't know the name of the guy. He was a tall gentleman, tall, skinny, elderly gentleman.
And did he, so he gave you a description?
Yes.
And did he point him out in my courtroom?
Not in the courtroom, but when we were in the lobby, he was out talking to me. He said that's the guy he was concerned about.
Well, I was under the impression you were filming more than one person coming out of my courtroom.
He also told me, he said, well, I'm there to film reactions for the witnesses leaving as well.
For what purpose?
I don't know. I didn't ask him.
Did you talk to Mr. Olson today downstairs?
When I came in, yeah.
I saw him down there. I think I told him to leave. Is there anything else going on in this courthouse? If he's not involved in that, he needs to leave the building. How much did he pay you?
That's still to be determined.
Okay.
If he's not involved in this, that he needs to leave this building. Again, y'all, what jurisdiction does he have to demand anybody to leave a public space? Sit and think about that a minute. Okay, we can argue semantics about recording the witnesses and this, that, here, and there, you know. But once again, if the courts wants it that private, take them out the back door. Don't let them go through public. Okay? I mean, if they're going to be that way about it. And by the way, y'all, this has only been going on in the last 50 years. We can't even find a jury, grand jury anymore. And they under the cover of, for their safety, but it's not for their safety. It's telling grand juries what they can and cannot do to intimidate the grand juries. And for the attorneys, mainly the prosecutor, to lie to them, stretch out the truth. Even in the Fifth Circuit, which is my circuit, right? The Supreme Court says that they are allowed to lie because of their immunity. Just like the cops, because they got immunity, they're allowed to legally lie. Everything they're lying about is because of the immunity thing. If we get rid of this immunity thing, this sovereign citizen immunity, then they will be held liable.
Have you done this kind of work for him before outside of a courtroom?
Not for him, no.
Okay. You can see why I'm concerned. It has a almost an air of witness intimidation about it.
I can see that.
You do understand that there are
Objections, that's assumptions. Not this, I understand. Do not understand. Never, never, never understand. Objections, that's assumption, Your Honor.
signs out front that say you're not allowed to videotape in this courthouse unless you have permission.
I was not aware of that, Your Honor.
Signs in the court building to get permission to record our public officials in the court building. Ridiculous, y'all.
Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
Nothing from the state, correct?
State,
Defense?
just, Your Honor, that this was not a request for recommendation of the defense.
Noted for the record. You've paid Mr. Olson for services in this case?
The JAC has paid Mr. Wilson.
That's going to be scrutinized. Okay. Anything else from the state?
Judge, only because I heard the court's order, I exchanged pleasantries with Mr. Olson on the first floor as I was coming up just now. And so I'm just informing.
I'm just
the court.
surprised he's here. I told him to leave this floor in this courtroom, and if there's no other business that he's here for, I'm a little befuddled by why he would be here.
He was on the phone. I said hi. He said hi back, and I got on the elevator.
Okay. Anything else from the defense?
There you go.
We're on standby again.
Understand that part again. Where does he get the jurisdiction and authority to tell anybody to leave that courtroom if he has not committed a crime? First Amendment activity is covered under the Constitution. Period. Period. And that goes for inside the courtroom. Or news people wouldn't be able to record in there. Why is the courts allowed to record yourselves and everybody else around there and not the people? And as you can tell, I'm recording the recording. So how do these people are able to record? It may not be these people. It may be the court recording. But for your request, grabbed it, it's okay. So what's the difference between me getting a FOIA request of the recordings in the courtroom and me actually recording in the courtroom? Explain that one, y'all.
We'll go off the record. Mr. Olson,
Yes, Your Honor.
why were you having people taped outside of my courtroom the other day?
We were concerned about it. They threatened it in me a couple of days before Thanksgiving.
What would that have to do with taping people coming outside of my courtroom, including witnesses? You didn't have permission, did you?
I'm not aware, Your Honor, there was not visible. There was suspicious activity on that side over there. I just asked my guy to record was coming out of the court.
How many people did you record?
I don't know, Your Honor. I have not seen the video.
Who's the gentleman who did it?
It is one of our technical guys.
He needs to be here by the end of the day. It's ready. Defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're unaware of any of this?
Alright, so let's subscribe to Law and Crime. Okay? Again, y'all, I'm not giving legal advice, and I'm using this as a learning video of what's going on in our judicial system that has literally gotten away from us. I'm just saying. We the people, because it is the people's court and they got so spoiled and saying it's their courtroom, we need to figure out why this is, why they're saying this, right? Yes, he has discretion in the courtroom itself. Yes, it is his courtroom. But mainly, it is the people's courtroom, and they cannot override the First Amendment. This is the hardest part not to understand. Even judges cannot tell you not to record in that courtroom because it's a First Amendment. It is open to the public. Period. There's no lawful and legal basis on the Constitution that they can override the First Amendment. And then what they did to these other people by dragging them in there, violating the Fourth Amendment, violating the Fifth Amendment, violating the Sixth Amendment, and I guess on the lucky side of this guy, they was working at violating the Eighth Amendment. Just saying, y'all. That's my opinion. I am not giving legal advice. Alright? This will be the People News. Till next time. Bye, y'all.